Hello everybody, here we are today doing our season preview over the Colorado Avalanche, talking about whether or not the Avs will actually find some more luck in the playoffs. So before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. The last season proved to be a good and bad year for the Colorado Avalanche as they finished with 107 points and were able to advance in the playoffs after it looked like Winnipeg might be able to beat them in the first round as the Jets had owned them during the regular season. But of course, Avs were able to beat Winnipeg, only to lose to the Dallas Stars in the second round. And it was a hard-fought exit. Again, you know that this team has dealt with a whole lot, but I do feel like for the team, there was more drama about how things transpired in the playoffs and what all happened off the ice. And this team just felt like they couldn't really focus on the on-ice product as they were trying to in the most important stage in hockey. So with an eternally long offseason to think about how things are going and how people are kind of focusing in on their legacies, wondering about what's going to happen here in the near future for Colorado, we get to think about what are some storylines to talk about for the Avs. So the first storyline is talking about whether or not they're starting to feel the walls close in on them. The Avalanche won the Stanley Cup back in 2022, but if you look at this body of work that we've seen from them for a while, they've only been able to get out of the second round on one occasion, of course, when they ended up winning the Cup. And it's just been weird because they've been a great side, but there have been some really exits where you're saying, man, I didn't really expect them to be out this early. And they've just got some problems out of their way. Again, you're feeling a lot of that pressure from the media. They've got some absences from their lineup. And of course, they've got financial constraints from some of the contracts they've handed out. I do know some of these things are things that they can't really control, as again, nobody expected Gabriel Landeskog to miss 2 years. And that's painful. And then, of course, too, you've got Valeri Nichushkin that's missed the playoffs for 2 years in a row with some issues, and you're not exactly sure what his future is going to be. And that's problematic because those are two huge players for your roster where you didn't expect them to be sidelined, and they are. But it's just unfortunate, too, because you understand that you kind of have to keep going. Hockey is a business, and this team just can't say, oh, well, you know, timeout. We can't really do anything because our guys are missing time, and we have to wait for them to get healthy or just get kind of in the right place with their lives. And that's a problem. But of course, too, the contracts are hard as well, as they're making it difficult to try to put together a Stanley Cup winning roster, as they have that high-end talent, but trying to create depth is a bit of a problem here. So for this team, I just think they're in a very weird spot where they know that they've been able to go out there and win a championship, and they have been a team that has been picked as a recent Stanley Cup winner or have some of the best Stanley Cup odds. But at the same time, too, another early exit this season in the playoffs would kind of push that narrative again about maybe they were a one-hit wonder. Now, granted, I'm not really saying that, but still, something that is kind of being floated out there at the moment. So I do think the walls are closing in, if you will, to some extent. The second storyline is talking about whether or not it's bad news that someone's playing for a contract. A lot of times in the NHL, you'll hear about players that are playing for a contract in the final year of their deal, and they're trying to make something happen where they can ask for more money. Typically, that's kind of a good thing for the team as it goes hand in hand. The player wants more money, they're going to have to be able to perform more, which helps out the team in the standings. The goal is, of course, to try to help out the team, right, and to have a good year. And I think for a lot of people, that makes sense. But I think in the case of the Colorado Avalanche, the last thing they need is for a particular player to go out there and have a monster year. The player is Mikko Rantanen. Rantanen has been a monster for this team. Helped them certainly go on to win their Stanley Cup back in 2022 and has been a threat over the past 2 years, especially with 97 goals over the past 2 seasons, well over a point per game in that time, and is a guy that is in the final year of his contract. Why exactly is that a problem? Well, because the Avs are cash strapped. And I know we've been hearing a lot of reports about how the deal is close to being done, but the question is being thrown out there about how much money does he want and what exactly happens if he goes out there and has another monster year. This is a guy that can go out there and score 55 goals or more on a team that should go out there and have a regular season that is very good as well, going hand in hand. Mikko plays well, he wants more money, right? And that's where I think the Avs could be very, very concerned, because how much money does he want? Does he want an 8-figure deal? How exactly does that play with the cap? And how much does that hurt them in the long run in terms of depth and how they want to throw out this lineup? And that's where it's unfortunate, because this isn't some fourth-line guy that's trying to keep his NHL dreams alive by giving you his all and just doing anything he can in these situations. This is a monster goal scorer for a team that has been able to score a lot of goals. Losing him would absolutely hurt. It would feel like part of the soul of this franchise would be gone, as he has played a pivotal role for them. So I think they are going to be able to get a deal done. Sorry, there's a fly flying in the background. Anyway, I think they are going to be able to get a deal done, but it's probably not going to be something that helps him out, as he's going to have a good year guaranteed, and then he's going to ask for a lot of money. He probably won't have to take too much of a discount because he knows elsewhere he could get money and be able to play on teams that probably are going to be good as well. So for the Avs, maybe they're hoping for a little bit of a down year, but also understanding as well, too, he's had so many good years now. At this point, they aren't going to be able to say, oh, well, you had a down year, we're not going to give you money. They're still going to have to open up the bank. Third and final storyline is talking about whether or not Alexander Georgiev is going to be their guy. The Colorado Avalanche are a team that have those big aspirations, but Alexander Georgiev could be holding them back. And this is kind of interesting too, because you look at the fact that over the past 2 seasons, he ranks first in the entire NHL with 78 wins. He had a 40-win year and then a 38-win year. The first year of that over this 2-year span looked really, really good. Career year for him. Last year looked kind of rough, and I do think that in this case, the playoffs were a big concern as he was able to stabilize things a little bit, but at the end of the day, Colorado is a team where you wonder if they are kind of holding him up a little bit and making him look a little bit better, and I do think that a lot of people could argue that is the case, but at the same time, too, this is a team that is far from perfect defensively. Last year, they had some bad defensive numbers that maybe got covered up because, again, this team has been very good, so I think a lot of these numbers that might look bad for some certain teams, people kind of gloss over and not even look at and say, no, look at the standings, look at how good they are, look at how they're able to score so many goals and win so many games, but the guys in front of him have to be able to help out as well, but this is something where in the Mikko case, he's playing for a contract, but not as bad, whereas Georgiev actually is. He's on the final year of this deal, and I think that he would be better off having a big year this year and then try to go out and stay with the Avs, because I feel like he is going to be looking better with them stats-wise than going off to another team and then have a couple of bad years or whatever it is, or maybe underperform a little bit. There's no doubting that he is being benefited to some extent with this side, but I also think that he doesn't have to be the guy for the Avs to go on this cup run. He just has to be their guy, play consistently enough to where they can score goals at a high rate and win these games. And I think for him, he's a motivated player that knows that this is going to be a pivotal year for his career, and if he's able to back it up with another 30-plus wins, season 35 wins or more, he's going to be much, much more secure in what he could get on the market, although again, probably would be better off sticking in Colorado because this team is able to help him get those wins. Whereas I think with some goalies that we've seen before where they look really good on one team, they get paid, they go off to another team and they perform pretty poorly. I can't say that everybody's surprised by it. So again, Georgiev kind of playing for himself at this point, winning the Stanley Cup or at least proving himself to be a good playoff goalie certainly wouldn't hurt his odds come the free agent market, all that. And I think that the Avs probably would be able to get a short-term deal figured out to try to keep him in net as his team is trying to get things going and keep on rolling down the line. So overall, what are my thoughts on the Colorado Avalanche? Well, this team is a side that's been able to go out there and win a title. Not something that every franchise can say. Some teams haven't been able to say it since the 21st century. That's just the way it is. But they've been able to do it. But if they failed in the playoffs for a third straight year, I feel like some of that fear factor kind of wears down a little bit where you say, yeah, the Avs are a team we don't really want to play, but come playoff time, they are beatable. 3 years in a row, people have been able to knock them off. Of course, Seattle, Dallas, I think is a bigger statement. But let's say that they lost to a team that is below them in the standings or not expected to beat them again this season come playoff time. That kind of aura fades a little bit for this team. And I do think that they are a side that is fading a little bit in terms of depth and how much they can provide. You know that those guys like Rantanen, McKinnon, Tays, guys like Makar are going to be able to produce on that high-end level. But, of course, too, this is a sport where depth tends to win out here a little bit. So watch out for the Avs as they try to balance out the money issues and figure out exactly what's going to happen here in the future. So anyway, pencil me in to say that the Avs make the playoffs this year, but don't pencil me in to say that they go on to win the Stanley Cup just yet. So what are your thoughts on Colorado for this season? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you go the fuck, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.